going to counter with what they know. They're going to stick with a traditional 4-3-3. Auburn's had a lot of success in that formation, and one of the players to highlight at the top, Mackenzie, is Sydney Richards. She put up a brace of her own on Thursday against UAB.
She did. First 2 goals of the season for her. She was the co-player of the game along with Kylie Burchard. I would expect big things from her as the season has just been leading up for her to get those goals. I'm sure more will come.
Well, and you knew it was just a matter of time, right, for Sydney Richards. I mean, just what she's been able to do in recent years. She was a member of the 19 All-SEC freshman team, led Auburn last year with 5 goals. So she had that striking power. Just took her a couple of games this year to get it going and find the back of the net.
It was, and really that's true for all of Auburn's forwards. Last game against UAB was the first game that they had forwards get on the score sheet for them. Their goals had come from midfielders and defenders previously in the season.
It is hot and steamy today at the Auburn Soccer Complex. Chattanooga has the first touch, and we are underway in the first half between the Mocs and the Tigers. Been excited about this matchup all week, Mackenzie, because I'm a firm believer Chattanooga is better than what their record says. They're 2-3. Auburn's coming in 5-0. But for Chattanooga, if they can get some scoring help with Sam Shaw, who knows? They could surprise some teams this year. A very good team out of the SoCon.
Yes, I think while they should still rely on Samantha Shaw, she's obviously a huge offensive presence for them, they really need to get some other players scoring goals for them. They can't just rely on one player throughout the season, so it'd be nice to see some other forwards and midfielders get on the score sheet for the Mocs.
Alonson chipping it over the top for Richards, but it's Andrade who runs it down for the first goal kick of the afternoon. And just early impressions from Gavin McKinney's defense there. He did exactly what he told us he wanted them to do, and that was get compact in the middle of the field. But for Auburn, however, they're going to try to use that wide space with their outside backs, and we saw it there with Alyssa Melanson.
They will. They transitioned to the 4-3-3 this season, mainly because they have a younger defense and they wanted more support in the back. But I loved how Melanson and Mooney have gotten up into the offensive attack, going up the flanks this season. They've created a lot of chances crossing the ball in on the outside and being outnumbered in the midfield as the Mocs play in a box formation. They really are going to need to use this outside width for their advantage.
Early one-on-one battle between Andrade and Richards. Little collision, shoulder bump, foul called on Andrade, and Auburn will get the throw in. Chattanooga led by head coach Gavin McKinney in his 7th season, 2020 SoCon Coach of the Year. And I'll tell you, the last 2 years for Chattanooga and Coach McKinney have been stellar. I mean, they were last year 3rd in the SoCon. They only allowed 6 goals all season long. They have a lot to build on this year.
They do. And Coach McKinney was even the SoCon Coach of the Season.
Yeah.
So that just proves that he has put the work in for this program. He's allowed it to improve every year, and he's heavily invested in his players and this team. Well,
the SoCon, make no mistake about it, it is a good conference for women's college soccer in the country. I mean, just look at teams like Chattanooga, Sanford at the top as Auburn sends one over the top. A great ball forward for Olivia Candelino. And Haddock getting her first touch of the ball today. And Sam Shaw coming up to cause some disruption. A little bit of space, but Shaw left it behind Mueller. And Chattanooga trying to work on their first counter, but a beautiful ball intercepted by Alyssa Melanson. Early back and forth play, Mackenzie, in the midfield. Really, Auburn pressing early. That's what they want to do with those big attacking players that they have up top. But I think the main thing for Chattanooga is you don't necessarily want to play not to lose, but at the same time, they want to keep everything in front. They don't want to let any Auburn attacker get behind them, and that's going to be on the forefront of their mind, at least in the early going right now against Auburn, as both of these teams trying to set the pace early on here in the first half.
Yeah, Coach McKinney shared with us before the game that we could expect a different type of defensive presence from his team this game. Normally they press high, they attack early, but he wants this team to drop back more this game and play more conservative soccer defensively.
Captain Emmy Craven clearing it out for the Tigers. Working it out wide now. Ray Slopan on to Mal Mooney. One thing about Auburn, they finished the season so strong last year, and it's easily carried over into this season with a lot of hard work. Here's a ball on the ground. Melanson finds the feet of Whitaker. But Whitaker going help for Wesh. Wesh, a high lofting ball that'll miss wide, and it does not threaten Abby Sadler, who's a great goalkeeper in her own right for Chattanooga. Scoreless through the first 5 minutes of the Auburn Soccer Complex, and this has been a great place for soccer for Coach Karen Hoppe and her Auburn program, riding a 9-game winning streak. She has 322 career wins, second among active coaches in the Southeastern Conference.
Yes, she is definitely tabbed as one of the most successful Division I college coaches.
Kendra Mueller using her size on Anna Haddock there, and Haddock caught the brunt end of the collision. 5'10" against 5'5".
We'll take another look at that. Yeah, Mueller just sweeps her back arm over there, and it looks like she kind of drags Haddock down with it.
Mueller's a good player, SoCon all-freshman team last year. But Anna Haddock's a great player in her own right. Top of the box and well defended by the Mocs. Auburn staying poised. They flip the field right to left to Melanson. One-on-one against Mueller. And back to safety to the center back in Madeline Moore.
Taking a look right now, you really see Samantha Shaw is the 9, number 10 right there, and she is way under the circle of the box. So the Mocs are really compressing back. They're shutting down any space that Haddock, Wesh, and Slopan have in the middle.
This back line of Auburn right now having no trouble swinging the ball left to right and right to left. Chattanooga is giving them all the space in the world right now. They're staying compact, and just like that, they force it back to midfield and as Auburn's back line retakes possession.
That'll be a key to this match for Auburn, is to remain patient, find the space, which will come from switching attack, switching the ball, finding different pockets of space. They could hopefully tire the Mocs out by this, by constantly switching the ball from side to side.
Beautiful ball over the top from Emmy Craven. Finds Richards, splits the defense, looking for Haddock, but nicely sealed off by Kendra Mueller. That was a great read by the Mocs defense. Not out of danger yet, but in the meantime, stopped one attack for Auburn inside the 18-yard box. Haddock took one off the chest of Klippenstein. Foot race in midfield, and Craven beats Kelly Turf to it. Smith back up to Turf. And a Haddock wins a one-on-one ball. And boy, Haddock, she's one that, well, she's SEC Offensive Player of the Week, 2 weeks ago for 2 goals against BYU, a top 25 win for the Tigers. But one thing about her game, Mackenzie, is she is truly an all-around player. I mean, she doesn't just do it on the attack. She's solid in defense as well.
Yes, and Coach Hoppe talked to us before this game about the transition that Haddock has had from setting up goals last year, leading the SEC in assists, to now scoring goals herself, and she accredits Grace Slopan's presence in the midfield for that. She said the two are very similar players, and that Slopan's cover has allowed Haddock to press higher and get forward to get shots and goals.
That was a beautiful cross from Mal Mooney's trying to set up Haley Whitaker, but the back line of Chattanooga stood tall, and Anna Haddock will send away the first corner of the afternoon for the Auburn Tigers. High lofting ball with the right foot and didn't have the angle. One thing Auburn has had some success on is, especially in the last 2 years, is scoring off of set pieces. Is when they've had trouble scoring, creating in the attack. The set pieces, Mackenzie, have been one of their strengths.
They have, and one of those players to credit for that is Emmy Craven. Not only is she a great asset for them in the box, getting on headers, but she also has a cannon of a leg, so she can be behind that set piece too, sending it forward.
Ten minutes in, Auburn still controlling pace. One thing I've noticed early, Mackenzie, is that Chattanooga, they've had very limited touches across midfield, and they haven't had a single touch inside the attacking third, inside the Auburn defensive third. Auburn wants to keep it that way.
Yeah, Chattanooga is going to play this game conservatively, as I stated in the beginning of the match. And that's because they're a team who has historically been able to rely on their strong defense and then get a late goal in the game to win the thing. And that's something that Auburn is going to need to be aware of this match. They're going to want to try to score early and often to shut down that chance of that happening.
Well, that's a great recovery there by Mackenzie Smith. Had she not got to that ball, Auburn would have had a step and possible numbers in a counter. Maggie Shaw currently controls last year's SoCon Defensive Player of the Year. And for the first time today, the sophomore in net, Maddie Prohaska, getting a touch on the ball at her feet in the orange kit in net for Auburn. One thing, this back line coming in for Auburn this year, Mackenzie, was a little concerning about the depth. Auburn not as deep on the back line as they've been in recent years, but so far this season, boy, Auburn's goals against average pretty good so far.
It is. This game, you know they are on the hunt for a shutout. They haven't had one this season yet. And while that hasn't mattered, that their offense has produced enough for them to continue to win games, you know that defensive line and Maddie Prohaska back there are just itching for a shutout.
Again, just looking back at last season, 15 goals allowed, a 6-1-1 record in the spring season, and ended on a 5-game winning streak. Craven wanting to send it long. She does. Plenty of space for Alyssa Melanson. Melanson getting forward from the left back position. Cross in, going up, taking it down. Abby Sadler. Nice cross, better snag by Sadler.
Taking another look here, Craven sends it wide to Melanson, who has a beautiful settle with her chest. She crosses it in, and Abby Sadler just grabs the ball. Whitaker was there if she had missed it in the back.
Richards looking for the through ball and sealed off as Olivia Candelino was making a run for it. Sent out of play for another Auburn throw. So far, this Chattanooga back line have been tested by Auburn, Mackenzie, but they continue to answer the call.
Chattanooga's defense is coming off of their most successful year as well.
Yeah, last year they only allowed 6 goals as a team in the 2021 season.
Yes, and one of those came in the postseason play, so really just 5 goals allowed in season, and they had a total of 6 shutouts, an average of 4.8 goals against average.
Well, for Chattanooga this year, they're no stranger to close contests. All of their matches this year have been decided by 1 goal, 2 of those of which have been in overtime. Here's Auburn's second corner kick of the day. Again, it's Haddock. Here she goes, top of the box, tailing in from behind. Was Auburn's Grace Slopan. Another ball in for Craven, and a chance. Doesn't have the angle on it, left too high.
Say she was there, she just backtracked a little too much. Looks like she lost her balance, but she still made that connection.
Haley Turf trying to build with Shelby Hash, working to Maggie Shaw in the back. Chattanooga's held off Auburn's pressure. This is their first time to counter that pressure. But Auburn's back line sealed the pass forward to Grace Klippenstein. Yeah, at what point, Mackenzie, all right, we're 15 minutes into the first half. At what point does Chattanooga say, okay, we've stood our ground defensively. It's our turn to flip the pace and trying to start create some chances offensively?
I think they're going to be patient with it. They come into this game with the motive of sitting back, not forcing anything, not exerting all of their energy in this first half. So it wouldn't surprise me if they play conservatively and set back most of the game.
Well, for Chattanooga, they have given Auburn's back line plenty of room to work, and that's where the attack has been built from time and time again here in the first half. And they don't want to let anybody in behind. And of course, we got a chance to talk with Coach Gavin McKinney in the pregame today, and that was the plan for them, is to stay compact. So far, they've done a great job of it.
They know that Auburn's midfield is one of their most dangerous assets to the team, and so they're really wanting to take away all of that space from Haddock, Wesh, and Slopin in the middle.
Well, you look at Auburn's roster already this year. Well, they have 5 players that's already netted a goal this season, right? So they have a lot of weapons up top. But for Chattanooga, this is a different approach just because they like to control the pace. Little hand check foul there on Klippenstein against Sydney Richards. Because you look at their match on Friday night, look at time and possession against Austin Peavy. They controlled. They just had 2 early mistakes in that game that cost them. Sam Shaw's second half goal put them back into the match, but they were unable to get the equalizer late.
They did. That was a tough loss for them. They had possession most of the match. They created a lot of great scoring opportunities. They just weren't able to capitalize on all of them.
Haddock to the top of the box, deflected out. That was Shelby Hash applying the pressure. And Mackenzie, we touched on this a moment ago, but you know, Sam Shaw, she hasn't had any opportunities in the first 20 minutes or so of this match. So what does Chattanooga have to do to get her going? Because again, the only player this season that's put a ball in the back of the net.
Well, here she goes there. They were trying to slid a ball through into space for her to run onto. It just didn't make it through. But she's going to need some help up there. You can't rely on one player on your 1-9 to beat ultimately 4 defenders. She's going to be outnumbered. But I think her game and a lot of what Coach McKinney told us that he preaches to his team is quality over quantity. Looking at Shaw's stats of having just 6 shots this season, all of them were on goal and 4 resulted in goals. So she doesn't put up a lot of numbers, but when she does have a chance to make something happen, she takes advantage of it.
Well, that's a great point about quality over quantity, because if Chattanooga sticks with this pace today as pressure coming from Auburn's Olivia Candelino and forces an Auburn throw deep inside Chattanooga territory. But if this pace remains the same, it's going to take quality chances, because at this pace, Chattanooga's not going to see many chances today.
No, and you give credit to the Mocs coming in here, and they've really dictated the pace of this game. They haven't let Auburn get the pace going high like Auburn normally likes to play. They've really slowed it down by sitting back, being patient, and shutting down players. Like right there, 2 Mocs players on Alyssa Melanson there.
Well, and that's one player we can't talk or say enough good things about. Grace Klippenstein today, the sophomore out of Franklin, Tennessee. She sacrificed the body time and time again. There she sticks the leg out to block the cross from Alyssa Melanson, and She's very good at dropping back.
She's been a player who's had a very successful career with Chattanooga. In her 3rd season, she has played every game but one of them, which came last season. So she's been a huge contributor for this Mocs team throughout her entire career so far.
Great target for Emmy Craven on the cross there from Anna Haddock. Auburn targeted Craven back post. But again, just off the mark for Craven. That's twice now she's been unable to time one in the air. Craven, though, 1 goal already on the season. She netted 1 on the road to the Troy Trojans, in-state rival of the Tigers, just last week. Maintaining pressure in the middle. The near sideline is Klippenstein again.
It looks like Auburn's made an adjustment here. Sclopin is in the 9 position up front, leading the offense, and Sydney Richards is now in the midfield, dropped back. With Candelino out wide, they're just switching back now, so that must have been a pressure cover reliever. But Auburn may be trying to make some adjustments here to break this compact defense from the Mocs.
Yeah, tactically, how do you like that change, Mackenzie?
I think right now you have to do something to get some changes going, to get more opportunities. Auburn's been able to break through out wide, but they need to build in through the middle as well.
And if you think about mindset of these two teams coming in, I mean, Auburn, 1 game at a time. They're still riding high, trying to get stronger and stronger, and also important for them to keep getting better and not look ahead to that big top 25 matchup they have coming on national TV next week against Florida State. Chattanooga, on the other hand, they're trying to put together a full 90 minutes. Again, they feel they outplayed Austin Peay on Friday. They should have a couple more wins in the win column than what they do this year, but they're trying to put some things together and put together a quality performance against a quality opponent today.
Yes, and both of these teams are ultimately playing these preseason games in preparation for conference play. And they know that their competitors are doing the same, and so you take every game with equal importance and you go at it 1 game at a time. This win is just as important or even more important than the upcoming games.
One thing that's been in Auburn's advantage, or been in Auburn's favor today, I should say, and it has been an advantage, is the one-on-one balls that Auburn's been able to win in the midfield. Part of the reason they've controlled and time of possession today has been because of those one-on-one battles in the midfield by the back line.
Yes. Chattanooga has struggled with their first touch. It's been out far in front of them, which has allowed Auburn to swoop in and read those balls and get the turnovers as a result.
It's not often Auburn tries to go in the midfield. There they try, and it's quickly taken away by Hash and Smith. Shaw working with Stevens up the far sideline. Madeline Moore having a step on Sam Shaw in the middle. And Auburn center backs, Madeline Moore, Emmy Craven, they've had a really good pace today in the middle, and I think they deserve more credit, I think, than what we've given them thus far with how they've been able to hold that line really at midfield all game long in terms of Auburn's possession.
They do, and this is the first season that the two have played together in this kind of formation. They haven't had to play as closely together, so they're still building that camaraderie and that communication and getting to know the style of play of one another.
Abby Sadler handled across in and out of the hands, but stayed with it. No Auburn Tiger, thankfully for the Mocs, was in the vicinity of Sadler to put in a rebound. Moody going to Richards, but there you see why Maggie Shaw is the SoCon Defensive Player of the Year last year. Great footwork.
She came into this program and had an immediate impact as a freshman, and she's been a huge reason why the Chattanooga defense has improved each and every year.
Chattanooga catches a break. They're able to play through contact with no whistle. Mueller dribbling in the middle. Mackenzie Smith goes wide right. Andrade with the ball in the air, just overshot Sam Shaw, the leading scorer for Chattanooga. Subs coming in for the Tigers as Candelino will take a seat. And there you see Auburn's Kylie Bichard, highlighted her in the Open today. 2 goals against UAB with a brace, first goals of her career at Auburn. A great story after missing the last 2 seasons with knee injuries, and she's just another one of those players off the bench, first player off the bench for good reason for Coach Karen Hoppe because of the depth she adds.
Yeah, talk about a candidate for comeback player of the year. She has improved each and every game that she's played. And something that Coach Hoppe said about Bichard was that her comeback was so quick that she has had a pace that has faster than they expected. They expect that she has a lot of things coming for the program, that she has a very high ceiling, and she has a lot of versatility, so they can play her at multiple positions. So they're very excited to have her back, and also very thrilled for what she provides for this program now and in the future.
Lanson going left to Bichard. Bichard cutting in and out of the defense. Melanson with a step, going to use her speed, works around the defender, works in a low cross, near post, scooped up by Abby Sadler. Good presence in goal for the Mocs.
Melanson working the ball up the left line, brings it almost to the end line and crosses it in. It just isn't far enough past the goal box to get an Auburn foot on it.
Lanson, a dynamic player. You see why, because of the speed she brings and the control she has on the dribble.
Yeah, she is a player who is playing back more than she has for the Tigers in previous seasons. They're using her as a defender, but with her speed out wide, she is still getting forward and making goal-scoring opportunities to set up her players.
Auburn's going right back to her. Under 20 minutes to play in the first half between Auburn and Chattanooga. Moore over the top on a run as Richards going up again is Abby Sadler. Well, I've been impressed with her presence in net today for Chattanooga. She's an Arkansas transfer and comes in as the Mocs all-time leader in goals against average, 0.37 coming into the weekend. Last year, she recorded Chattanooga's single season record for goal against average, and that was 0.22. Pretty impressive.
Very impressive. And one of Sadler's strengths is her ability to handle crosses into the goal, which is going to be very valuable in today's game against Auburn, which they really love playing the ball out wide, building it, and then crossing it in. So that's going to be a good challenge for Sadler, but it's also something that she's really good at. So it's going to be a challenge for Auburn to get the ball past her in the box.
A razzle-dazzle there by Kylie Bichard. It's the foul called, and Auburn's going to try to build out wide off the right flank. All right, Mackenzie, over halfway through this first half of play. What's your initial takeaways of Auburn and Chattanooga?
This is a very slow-paced game right now. Both teams are remaining patient. Auburn is trying to work the ball forward, but Chattanooga is just compact, has a very compact defense. When you see an Auburn Tiger try to press forward, they have 2 defenders on them. So they're going to need to start to set up some combination play, really draw defenders from one area to another to get a give-and-go or some sort of play around the defense.
All right, for Chattanooga, again, they're doing something a little different today to try to limit Auburn because they are so high-powered in their attack. But for Auburn also, as you mentioned, this is different for them because they are a high-pressing team. They like to play at a fast pace. So as a player, how do you adjust to that mentally during a game and not let the pace get too frustrating?
I think bringing in some subs is going to help. You see Arias here making a run forward. You've seen Kylie Bichard with a couple chances and opportunities so far. Sometimes it's nice to get a perspective that has been able to sit back, view the game, and go in and make some changes.
Arias, a player that brings in quick step off the bench. Here's a shot from Haddock, left foot, wide right. Here you see Anna Haddock. She's one that she can score from distance. 3 goals on the season, 2 assists, leads Auburn with 8 points.
Yeah, Haddock has a cannon. You see her here switch it to her left foot. Shot just goes wide of the net, but she is hungry for a goal. She's not afraid to shoot it, and like you said, she's not afraid to shoot it from outside the box.
And Slopan draws the foul for Auburn. Sets up a kick for Andrade of Chattanooga. Maggie Shaw coming up in the attack. And how about the Shaw sisters from Chattanooga's? Anna Haddock making a run.
Yeah, the Shaw sisters, what a fun story that is. First of all, there's 2 sets of twins on this Chattanooga team, which is very unique. But the Shaw sisters, they actually have a goal and an assist pairing this season. Maggie connected off of a set piece to Samantha, who finished it. You have to know that that camaraderie, that relationship on the field is very helpful for the 2 of them. And then Coach McKinney talked to us about having them both on the team and how they hold each other to very high standards, which is also very critical for the team culture as they look to those 2 players as leaders.
Yeah, both are dynamic players. Maggie, the signal caller on the back line for Chattanooga, and then of course Sam Shaw. She's a top striker up top, leading the box with 4 goals this year. Melanson.
Yeah, talk about a dangerous duo.
Yeah.
One in defense, one in offense, and they wanted to go to college and play soccer together, and I love that because they've been playing their whole lives together, so they've had 20-plus years of playing experience.
And I loved hearing Coach McKinney talk about the recruiting process of the Shaw sisters, both out of Columbia, South Carolina, and both were seen at one big showcase, but they saw them at a showcase in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Cross coming in and just off the right side of the net. This time Marissa Arias pressuring the Chattanooga defense.
That was a rocket from Arias there. She shoots it high. It just hits that front post, it looks like. If it was just a little bit back, though, at another angle, it could have gone back post. And Kylie Bichard was there in case of a rebound.
Arias, one that did not play in 2019, redshirted, saw action in 11 contests last year, recorded over 300 minutes. I mean, she is a great example of, hey, yeah, you don't get initial playing time as a freshman for whatever reason, but stay in the program, build your way up, and earn those playing time.
Yes, and Coach Hoppe credits Arias as one of her most creative players. You see it with her footwork, with her soccer knowledge. She's not afraid to try different things, try flicks, such as the assist she had earlier this year. And so she's very aggressive going forward.
Under 12 minutes, Auburn has put 5 shots up on 3 corners. Chattanooga has yet to put a shot up on Auburn's Maddie Prohaska. One thing Chattanooga's got to be aware of here, Emmy Craven, she'll go short, but she has the leg to bomb one from midfield to set up a scoring chance. Melanson one-on-one with Roth. Slopan slices one in and deflected out by Maggie Shaw. Haddock to Slopan. Slopan getting the edge. Auburn pressing forward a bit more here in the last 5 minutes or so, but a turnover. Calls by Mackenzie Smith. Richards bracing herself for the contact from Catlett. Catlett just enough contact to force the turnover and not a foul. Good defense. Here you see the sun starting to come out behind the clouds. We're in the heat of the day here in the loveliest village on the plains. Beautiful afternoon. Again, a lot of cloud coverage as this game started, but this is just part of it in early September in the south. It is going to be hot and steamy on these Sunday afternoons for soccer. And for Chattanooga, though, it's a bit different for them today. Their home field's a turf field, and the Auburn pitch here, the Auburn Soccer Complex, of course, is natural grass.
Yeah, first of all, nothing beats a Sunday afternoon game in September. Talk about heat. And playing on turf and heat is another story. It just feels 10 degrees hotter on that kind of surface. But that is something you have to wonder about. I mentioned earlier in the game that Chattanooga's first touch was a little too far in front of them. Well, that's something that they're probably having to adjust from playing on turf and practicing on turf. Those two surfaces of turf and natural grass are very different to play on.
Slopan building an attack for Auburn. Mooney lost her footing but regained possession. A little nudge from behind. Foul coming from Kelly Turf.
Mooney trying to get around Turf here, and Turf sticks out her leg. Mooney goes down as a result.
And a Haddock will get a free kick. This is as good as a corner kick here. Even with the 18-yard box on the far sideline, who will Auburn target? It goes short. Header off of an Auburn Tiger, and it bounces to the hands of Abby Sadler.
Yeah, that was Maddie Simpson on the header. She is a sophomore for Auburn, and she's seen her playing time grow throughout this season. She got about 30 minutes against Troy and UAB, and she's been getting in on the attack with 1 assist so far this season.
Yeah, coaches are very high on her. They call her a Swiss Army knife. She can play forward, midfield, or even play fullback if asked to. They also love her attitude. She brings that all-or-nothing attitude, and every team needs a couple players with that all-or-nothing attitude, right?
Exactly.
$7:50 left in the first half. Chattanooga's held their own defensively, haven't produced much offensively, but for the Mocs, they want to get into this first half at halftime scoreless and have a chance in the last 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Auburn.
they've had 2 games go to overtime this season. They won 1 of those. They are probably playing this game with that goal of let's try to wait for an opportunity to present itself, going back to the quality over quantity mentality. And they're not going to try to give Auburn the fast pace that they're used to. They're really trying to control the speed of this game and play their game.
Slopan finds Haddock, room to work. Haddock with a ball in. The shot from Arias deflected out. Finds the foot of Mooney. Mooney chips it back in. Haddock, left foot, floater into the breadbasket of Abby Sadler. Threatening sequence there from the orange and blue. Chattanooga answers the bell again.
We'll see Haddock here find a ball through Simpson. A little bit of too big of a touch there, but Arias is there to try to knock it in. It's knocked back out, but Haddock will get a left-footed shot here. This is something that Auburn's going to need to continue to do to try to move the ball fast, find little pockets of space to thread the ball through, and hopefully get towards goal.
Mooney coming forward, looking for a cross. Blocked away Well, the Tigers' fourth corner of the afternoon, providing the pressure, A.K. Anderson. She's from SEC country out of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah, on Chattanooga, they have 21 Tennessee natives. So a lot of talent coming from in-state for them.
Substitutions coming in. Olivia Diddell's on the bench for Auburn. It's Riley Petkoski. Left foot corner, high, back post to Simpson. Auburn tracks it down, and Diddell swings it out wide left to Bouchard. Bouchard again, 2 goals on Thursday night against UAB. Diddell's fresh set of legs off the bench. Senior out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Shake and bake move there by Mooney. Nice shot coming from Bouchard. All worked out by Catlett. Under 5 minutes. This is dangerous. This is the dangerous time of the period. Anna Haddock heads one forward. Arias in a foot race, but Sadler beats her to it.
Yes, there's 2 most dangerous times in soccer. It's the 5 minutes after a goal, and it's the 5 minutes before play stops, either in the first half or the end of the game. And so Auburn just made a lot of substitutions here. They have a lot of fresh legs. They're looking for an energizer bunny to come in and spark some action for them.
Well, Auburn's pretty deep. I mean, they have a lot of kids they can rely on. Arias, Diddell, Simpson, a few to name. Riley Petkoski. Also another fresh set of legs. Chattanooga has a couple new faces on the pitch as well. Faith Gober is up top for Sam Shaw. Andrade working Gober, and Gober never had a shot as Madeline Moore had her sealed off. 3.5 minutes. Auburn's picked up the pace, I'd say, in the last 5 to 10 minutes. Auburn with 9 shots. Petkoski working on Roth. Diddell's finding Simpson to Haddock. Bouchard going back to Petkoski. Petkoski from distance is high, just wide. Not a bad take there by Riley Petkoski.
No, just inches off of that top right post. She sends a floater in that arches down just perfectly, just a little too wide there.
And a great read by Abby Sadler. Once she realized it was going to go wide, to not reach up and deflect it out to give Auburn a corner kick. That is a veteran move. And Petkoski, 0 career goals as a junior. She was just inches from her first.
She's one of the players that Auburn looks to as one of their first subs normally. She comes in, she's got a lot of speed. She's, as you mentioned, a veteran player, so she's got some experience, and she's a very reliable sub for Auburn.
Under 2 minutes to play. Anna West setting the pace in the midfield. Auburn's leading scorer, Anna Haddock, changes direction. Strong run forward by Bouchard. As Bouchard changes positions. Moore to Simpson, headed out. And Sadler can't get there to avoid the corner kick, but nonetheless, great defense by Maggie Shaw on the back line, going 1v1 against the sophomore Maddie Simpson of Auburn. Right foot from Anna Haddock. Going back post. Running in is Craven. Overshot it. It's deflected out. And it's another Auburn corner. Chattanooga got a piece of it.
With Chattanooga playing such a compact defense, Auburn really needs to take advantages of these set plays, as there'll be great opportunities to attack.
Auburn goes short. Pekoski looking for Arias. Deflected out. 20 seconds left. Just enough time for Simpson to create. Goes with the left foot. Haddock, the chip from behind by Arias is no good. Out of play with 10 seconds left. Simpson's got to hurry. Down to 5 seconds. Haddock deflects it up forward. And Chattanooga will dribble this one out as the first half of play comes to a close. 0-0 even. Chattanooga and Auburn through one half of play. Mackenzie Hamilton, what's your thoughts on the first half?
This is a much slower paced game than we're normally seeing from Auburn as a result of Chattanooga really sitting back in their defense and being patient. In order to break this, Auburn's going to need a speed up pass.
Right now, the way they're playing, the way they finished last year, I mean, their expectations are high. They want to be in the top 3, top 4, and have a chance to contend for an SEC title.
That is, and sitting right there in the middle of the coaches poll at 7th place. That isn't a bad place to be, actually. You're kind of being doubted, which you can use as motivation for this season. I know when I was playing, the best season that my team had was when we were actually predicted to be last in the conference. We named our group chat Last Place to remind ourselves of that motivation, to prove people wrong, to prove that that poll meant nothing and that we were going to do better this season, and we ended up going far into the conference tournament.
Auburn's got the nation's longest active winning streak at 9 games. 45 minutes to play in regulation against Chattanooga. Mackenzie, what's Auburn have to do in this second half to extend that winning streak?
They're going to need to pick up the pace, play at more of a speed that they're used to, and this will come from quick passes. If they're not able to break out wide in an instance, they can use the tight space they have to do some quick passes around players, a give and go, an overlap, something of that nature, to find little pockets to move the ball quickly in.
It took 10 seconds to bomb the ball forward to Sydney Richards, and she's worked it forward for Auburn's first corner of the half. And it's Anna Haddock with the right foot, near post, into the net! Anna Haddock from distance on the corner! Haddock's nets her team-leading 4th goal of the season, and the Tigers score the first goal of the match 30 seconds in to the second half of play.
I would have loved to hear Coach Hoppa's speech and their speeches to each other in the locker room, because just seconds out into the half, boom, a corner opportunity, and Haddock takes advantage of that, sending it into the back of the net. A beautifully placed cross. Doesn't even need to connect with one of her players as it goes in by itself.
Haddock made that look easy. 4th goal of the season for the sophomore out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. Tigers lead 1-0. Now that puts a little more pressure on Chattanooga.
So now it'll be interesting to see if Chattanooga wants to sit back more. They're down, so that doesn't make sense. They're going to need to get into the attack. They really need their outside mids to get forward.
All forward, looking for Yamanda, getting her first minutes of the game. Offside call, and Maddie Prohaska will go to work at the top of the box. So for Chattanooga, again, you're seeing them quickly, Mackenzie, flip the pace and try to answer that goal. But for Auburn, they've got a decision to make too. Do you keep the pace, or do you play conservative? I'd like to think how Auburn played Thursday night against UAB. They netted 4 goals at home against the Blazers. I think Auburn's going to keep the foot on the gas here and try to put a couple more in the back of the net.
They should. They should play their style of game, which is quick, fast, pressure cover. They need to go at this goal. Obviously, it just worked for them. They need to take advantage of the set pieces that Chattanooga has allowed throughout the game, and they need to continue to press forward. In my opinion, the best defense is an even better offense.
It's Melanson and Ella Roth going 1v1. Roth called for the foul. And a Haddock sets up for the set piece. Notice Emmy Craven in the box, along with Olivia Candelino. Those are the targets. Deflected off the chest of Sadler. Touch forward, Candelino. Nice deflection out. Strong defense there by the center back in Avery Catlett. You knew this was going to be a good matchup, on paper at least, between Auburn and Chattanooga, just with a depth and the experience on Chattanooga's back line and the firepower that Auburn has at the top of their formation. Ball in. Headed out by Catlett. Out wide is Anderson. And here's another glaring difference in this match today in the matchup is Auburn seems to be a step quicker to every loose ball and just flipping the pace upfield. Auburn has been a step quicker than Chattanooga, which is one of the many reasons Chattanooga, they know that, why they're having to stay compact today. Melanson takes the feed. Beautiful sliding tackle. Just taken out by Andrade.
Yes, Chattanooga is trying to take away Auburn's strengths, but I think they need to take advantage of their own strengths, which is working the ball out wide and being critical in that final third, using the flanks to move the ball up and then crossing it in. And we haven't seen that from them in all this game. Really, we haven't seen any offensive pressure from Chattanooga. They've relied heavily on Samantha Shaw in the 9 position, but they haven't used their outside mids to get up and get forward. They've been caught back in the defense.
Boy, Slopan there had the right idea. Candelino was trailing in towards that back post. Slopan, unfortunately, just sailed it and ended that attack. But Auburn quickly on the counter with a deflection in the midfield, working off of Slopan. Mooney gets forward. Cross deflected off Anderson, sealed off. And a sign of play. And that was Yamanda again for Chattanooga.
She was a SoCon all-freshman all-freshman team member last season. She started all 11 games. And she didn't start this match for Chattanooga, but we see her starting the second half.
Also has Japanese national team experience at the U17 level. It's always good when teams and coaches can bring in those international players because it's just a different level of competition.
It is. It's a different perspective on the game, as the game is played differently in different corners of the world. In certain countries, it's not as heavy of a running game. It's more of a possession game. Here in America, we play direct soccer more. So it's nice to get some different points of view and playing styles on a team.
Auburn working forward with Candelino, trying to build on the early goal in the second half of play. A corner netted by Anna Haddock to give Auburn the 1-0 lead. Turnover. Candelino dribbling forward. Changing direction, left foot in the air, diving stop past Sadler. Out of play for an Auburn corner. Boy, Candelino, she stopped, she pivoted, changed directions, and floated that one and made that one look a lot closer.
That did. She had a nice curve on that ball going towards the back post. And that's been something Coach Hoppe said that Candelino has really been working on this season and improved at is her back to goal.
Haddock again, curves it in, crossbar, deflected. Sydney Richards got a foot on it. Craven unable to angle it.
Haddock has been busy this game with lots of corner chances. We'll look back here at the most recent one. She curves that ball beautifully in, hits the top post. Richards was there for the deflection, trying to get that rebound, but a Chattanooga defender was in the way.
Well, I thought Craven just didn't have the angle and sailed it out, but that actually deflected off a mock defender. So Haddock will get another go. This time from the right corner. 8 corners on the afternoon. And this time Haddock did not have the angle. She knew it. And make that the 9th corner of the afternoon. But going back to that ball floated in by Slopan, or was it Candelino? Forgive me. That was a great diving save by Abby Sadler. I mean, as you mentioned, the curve on the ball tailing back in towards that back post. Sadler, if she doesn't get a deflection on it, who knows? It could be a 2-0 game.
Yeah, she had that back post covered.
And it was Candelino. Long run forward by Anderson. Trailing from behind is Candelino. Candelino proving, hey, she can play on both ends of the field. Candelino, the sophomore out of Jacksonville, Florida. SEC Freshman of the Week back in the spring, March 15th. Started all 8 matches in the spring as well.
And we saw Candelino track back and get that defensive play to get it out there. And that's also another asset that she brings to the team, is that she is one of the strongest defenders as a forward. You know, defense starts in the attack. It starts with the highest point of a play at the 9 position, and that's what Candelino does well.
Great give and go there by Mackenzie Smith. Chattanooga building for the first time today. Smith to Roth. Going back to Andrade. To the top to Yamanda. And Mooney sends it to midfield out of danger as Maggie Shaw quickly to work forward. She will come forward in the attack. Part of her game. 1v1 against Whitaker. Lots of speed. Deflects it out in Chattanooga. It's her 2nd corner of the afternoon. Great play by the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Maggie Shaw, in the SoCon.
Shaw loves to build up the left side of the field. With her speed, she has the ability to drive forward and take her space.
And that looks to be A.K. Anderson. Right boot punched out by the sophomore keeper, Prohaska. Pass to Andrade. Collision, Richards. Getting there to send it out of play. It'll be a Chattanooga throw-in. Chattanooga looking a bit sharper in the attack here.
They are. This is some of the first offensive presence and plays that we've seen from them. Prohaska hasn't really been busy in the goal, but she's just had 2 stops right here.
Well, that's the thing as a keeper, especially in a 1-0 game, is you never know when the opposing team is going to come forward, and all it takes, we've seen it time and time again, all it takes is 1 bounce. It takes 1 quality opportunity, something Coach Gavin McKinney preaches for Chattanooga. 1 quality chance can change the game.
A great turn there by Whitaker. She's going to be fouled. Oh, no, I'm not. My bad. The referee does not call that one.
Auburn gets it back.
Yeah, Auburn will keep possession, though.
Melanson, left side of the box. Shots just wide. I think actually more of a direct pass, hoping to find Whitaker or possibly Candelino to get on the end of it.
She was trying to get that 45-degree pass back in front of the goal there. She drives forward towards the end line, hits it back, a nice hard shot, just no one's there to connect on it.
Throw in for the box, and by the way, it just saw a moment ago the Haley Whitaker wanting to know about why the no foul call. She was getting an explanation from the head official today, and to both teams, credit, it's been a pretty clean game today, very competitive. Shot blocked away. It was Slopan. Top of the box, not out of danger. And a nice touch pass. Here's Mackenzie Smith. Catlett going wide to Shaw, pressured by Candelino. Pass intercepted in the air, a soft pass left up for the taking, and that's what Auburn did with it. Candelino splits the defense, making a run on goal. And a foul inside the box. Going down on the play, great defense. Shelby Hash cut off Candelino to deny the opportunity.
Candelino got around her at the beginning, but Hash had a great recovery to stop the ball and eventually draw that foul. We'll see here, she had gotten past her, but Hash makes that recovery and steps inside of Candelino between the ball.
Just over 30 minutes to play in regulation. Auburn with a 1-goal advantage over Chattanooga, all thanks to an Anna Haddock goal off a corner. Auburn going back to Melanson. If they can build an attack, if they have their choice from the back, it will be Melanson or Mooney. Slopan runs into traffic. And it's a counter for Chattanooga. On the ball is Ella Roth. Going up to the leading goal scorer, Sam Shaw. That one's chipped out of play. One glaring difference for Auburn and Chattanooga is the amount of production that both teams have had in the attack this year. Auburn and Coach Karen Hoppe, they've had 6 players who have scored a goal this season. Chattanooga, on the other hand, only has Sam Shaw. What's the advantage there, mentally and tactically, as you come into the final 30 minutes of this match, Mackenzie, where, hey, Auburn, again, they're wanting to seal this game with another goal, and Chattanooga, they want to get an equalizer to set up something for a great finish.
Well, something I'm seeing right now with Chattanooga is that when they do find Samantha Shaw up top in transitioning attack, that she has no options going forward. So she's having to play the ball back, and by that time, Auburn is able to recover. So she really needs support. She needs a teammate to support and turn and play the ball to help Chattanooga to continue to go forward and not delay the attack because they're letting Auburn get back and get set in defense.
Later this game goes, 1-0 match. Every possession means more and more. Sydney Richards taken down. It would be a foul on Andrade. Great run, but too much contact is deflected out.
We'll take another look at that run here. A race between Richards and Andrade. Andrade slides to get the ball out, but it will be off her for an Auburn corner.
And it's Hannah Haddock. This is where she scored from about 12 minutes ago. Curves one in off the head of what seems to be Candelino. And Auburn does not answer on their 10th corner of the afternoon. Boy, the pressure has been steady. I'll be surprised if they don't get at least 3 or 4 more at this rate. Chattanooga's attack has still been quiet this half, but it has improved, Mackenzie.
We've seen them have a couple opportunities this half, which the first half we really saw none. Now that they're down a goal, they can't play defensively minded. They still have to get an attack going, take advantage of some opportunities.
The back, Madeline Moore going up for Auburn. And Auburn's Lonson bumped out of bounds. Nice throw in, but thrown behind Mueller, and that allows Auburn to retake possession.
Mueller tried to get a turn with the ball there, it just deflected off her back.
Chattanooga able to regroup, a pass intercepted by Craven. Craven being a step ahead. She is most of the time the senior out of Atlanta, Georgia. Veteran on this Auburn back line. She's the team captain.
Something that Auburn has done well this game is anticipate the passes from Chattanooga and step in and steal them. For Chattanooga, their touches have been a little too far in front of them to allow this. They need to have a tighter first touch to make sure that it's more under control. They also need to connect more passes.
Alonson, shake and bake with a cross on top of the crossbar and out of play. Not bad from the Auburn left back, and boy, she almost made something happen.
A great cut back there. Another cut more towards the sideline. She sends it far up, just barely hits the top post.
Goal kick coming up for Chattanooga as Melanson will take a breather. And Mackenzie, one thing we have not talked about today is your connection to the Chattanooga coaching staff. Graduate assistant Jeff Shefford, also a Southern Miss soccer player.
Yes, I played 2.5 years with Jess at Southern Miss. She's a friend of mine. I love her. She was a great teammate.
Auburn pressuring. Haddock, shot, high, wide. Haddock seeking her second brace of the season. That'll be a goal kick for Chattanooga, but Mackenzie, yeah, your former teammate, it always helps, especially when you're prepping for a match. Obviously, I know you're familiar with Auburn, but it's not always good to see a familiar face on the opposing sidelines.
Yeah, it was great. I got to catch up with her before the game, and I know that she has just been so valuable to the Chattanooga coaching staff. Large reason why is because she was a great utility player. At our time during Southern Miss, she played in every single position except goalkeeper, so she brings a lot of knowledge that way, and she's also currently still playing soccer, so that always helps. She's constantly learning and improving.
All right, enlighten us. Who is she playing with now?
She plays for the WPSL, which is a summer league. A lot of college soccer players will play in that, and she played for the Chattanooga Red Wolves this past summer.
And for Chattanooga, getting something going here with speed out of the back from Maggie Shaw, hoping to connect with her sister. Cross just led her too far. And Samantha up at the top of your screen wearing number 10 for Chattanooga. Now a long run from the back for Auburn. As Kylie Bouchard, and I tell you, for a player with a knee brace on, I mean, the way she runs, you can hardly tell from distance that she even has a knee brace on. I mean, she's been a great spark for Auburn off the bench.
Yeah, she is speedy, and I can speak from experience. I played my whole college career in a knee brace, and it is not fun. That thing is heavy, and I always felt like it did slow me down. I preferred to not run in it. So the fact that she's being able to just beat players with her speed with that brace on is really impressive.
Nice pass to the feet of Arias. Arias chipped forward for Maddie Simpson. Simpson, high ball in, going for the header over shot Haddock.
I like that cross from Simpson there. She took it on a first touch, saw the timing of it, that if she did take a touch, there was a good chance Chattanooga was going to deflect it.
Haddock back up on her feet. She took a hard fall there. Andrade dribbles around Haddock. It may just be me, but Haddock seems a half step slower, I think, than prior to the fall. Haddock to Arias. Arias is one, Mackenzie, who I think will find the net before too long if she gets a chance.
She's definitely not afraid to take those chances and send in shots. I love her aggressiveness going towards goal. She'll try to put any kind of body part on the ball.
Ball deflected out. It's a good job getting position for Kelly Turf, freshman out of Franklin, Tennessee. Simpson to the top, over Haddock, deflected by Mackenzie Smith. Simpson with another chance. Goes short. And Wesh goes back to the captain and Craven. Craven flips the field to Melanson. Excuse me, make that Riley Petkoski. Push from behind, and Chattanooga not pleased with the result there. Slopan knocked to the turf by Mackenzie Smith.
Another look at it here. Sklopen, it looks like Smith just nudges her, kind of gets her foot in, and then pushes her down. So that'll be the foul call there. Mackenzie Smith, though, is someone that...
Here's a chip. Oh, just missed an opportunity for Kylie Bouchard. Great ball forward for Riley Petkoski. Mackenzie, you were saying?
Yes, Mackenzie Smith is someone that the Chattanooga coaching staff is expecting to get on the board soon for them. In stats, she has had the most opportunities, the most dangerous plays going forward, and so she's second on that list of expected goals, right under Samantha Shaw.
That's what we asked Coach Gavin McKinney when we chatted with him on Friday of this week. Is again, like with Sam Shaw, yeah, she's having a great season, but to Chattanooga wanting to create with some other players, and rightfully so. And we asked him, said, hey, who would that player be? And the first name out of his mouth, Mackenzie Smith, and vice captain last season, so member of the SoCon all-freshman team in 2019. Top of the box. Auburn gets a foot on it, out. And Maddie Simpson sends it across midfield. Under 20 minutes to play in regulation between Auburn and UT Chattanooga.
Chattanooga getting some numbers up forward. There was about 5 players on the offensive attack. So they might be gearing up here now with just 20 minutes of play to try to push forward more, to get more opportunities to score.
Arias working around 2 mock defenders. One thing that's been in Auburn's favor today is they have not had any bad turnovers. Chattanooga, for the most part, has done a good job as well taking care of the ball, but Auburn especially, one of the many reasons they've controlled pace and controlled play today.
Yeah, we've seen no counterattacks for both teams. Both defensive lines for them have been able to get back in time.
Moody. Forward to Arias, into Wesh. Petkoski just a touch behind it. Thought she was going to have the speed from distance watching her. A quick sub in as Sydney Richards comes in for Maddie Simpson. Glad you could join us here on the SEC Network Plus today for Auburn and Chattanooga. Auburn is 18 minutes away from extending their nation-long active winning streak. Chattanooga, though, wants something to say about that. They've got 18 minutes to counter that result. Ash Ford targeting box forward into the box is Shaw. Shaw taken down Emmy Craven, and a foul in the box. Good job by Craven. Dangerous area to go 1v1, and Craven knocked to the turf but gets the foul.
Shaw trying to cut the ball back there, and she'll drag Craven down with her.
One good thing in on Chattanooga's resume that I think will help them in these final 17 minutes is they've played in several one-goal games this season already. Every match has been decided by one goal. They're 2-3 in those results. 2 of those are in overtime, both in the same weekend. A 2-1 result to Belmont, and they countered that with a victory 1-0 over Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, their conditioning is definitely not a problem for them. They can go the distance of the game. They've played these long games where it's close. They haven't had time to be complacent in a game.
All forward to Arias. Looks to chip to Haddock. Shelby Hash was waiting there to take it. Not a bad deflection there for Mal Mooney. And Chattanooga easily off that deflection wanted it to go out for a throw-in. Instead, it forced Chattanooga to regroup defensively.
It was a great defensive play by Mooney. It was a strong attack going forward, and the deflection bounced in her way, and Arias was there with more additional coverage to pressure the ball.
Oh, dangerous collision. Arias comes flying in, colliding with Shelby Hash. Both are okay. Quick word from the referee about, I think it's gonna be a word about coming in and just making sure you're not coming in reckless. Again, I don't think it was intentional to take out Hash, but
it was a hard play. It's just having control of your body.
And that's important, because it's important to the safety of not just yourself, but the players around you.
That is why that rule is in place, you know, making judgments off of a dangerous play, what kind of position you're putting another player in.
Quick trigger by Prohaska. Ball run down in the middle by Maggie Shaw. Has a step on Arias. Arias with a push from behind, frustrated with herself, and a yellow card coming in on Marissa Arias. And I think the last push had a little something to do with that too. That was back-to-back plays there for the youngster, where the referee said, hey, we gotta slow down the pace here. It's a little tug from behind, the shoulder grab, and they're gonna call that every time.
It wasn't necessarily that play anything too bad or deserving of a yellow. It was just in combination with the previous play. He did talk to her, and so obviously that was gonna be a yellow there because she had a warning, so she'll be subbed out just for now.
And Olivia Candelino coming in, and good thing for Arias. Hey, take a moment, learn from it, and apply it to the next time you're on the pitch. Set piece for Shaw. Left short for Haddock. And a nice step by Shelby Hash. She's been a spark the last 5 minutes. Even with a box, ball in, Craven heads it out. Off the chest. Candelino, Haddock. They're going to rely on the wheels of Kylie Bouchard. Bouchard running smoothly with that knee brace. And a slight bump from Klippenstein, and I think Auburn wanted the foul there. They're not going to get it. Ball out of play past the inline gives everybody a chance to reset. All right, McKenzie, just north of 10 minutes left to play. Auburn a 1-goal lead over Chattanooga. What are you looking for tactically here in the final minutes?
If I was Chattanooga, I would push forward. I would do everything you can right now to try to get a ball in the back of the goal. I would move more players forward, and I wouldn't play as defensively minded. I would be less afraid to make mistakes too. As far as Auburn goes, I would keep playing the game. I like the speed they're playing at. They're going towards the goal aggressively.
Into the box, a shot into the net, but offsides. Great idea for Alyssa Melanson. For Olivia Candelino, she has 2 assists on the year, but offside called, and Auburn's opportunity fizzles out. Mackenzie, you were saying?
Yeah, great sight here by Melanson to find Candelino and connect on her run. She was just offsides there, but overall, great connecting pass. I would like to see more of that from Auburn, but Auburn also needs to be wary of not getting complacent. Even though Chattanooga hasn't had a ton of offensive presence this game, one slip up, one opportunity could result in them tying this match.
We said before, all it takes is one. And Mackenzie, you and I had the privilege of scouting Auburn together as Auburn hosted Memphis in an exhibition match, and that's where Memphis actually won that exhibition 2-0. Again, it does not count against the overall record, but Auburn saw in the final 10 minutes of that match. Auburn conceded 2 goals, where a match where Auburn outplayed Memphis, I thought, for the first 80 minutes of that match. But opportunities late. They got a lucky bounce once and caught Auburn sleeping again a few short minutes later. So Auburn has experience with that in this 2021 campaign, but yet to see it in the regular season, to their credit.
Yes, and that is something that this Chattanooga team also has experience with, and that they're very good at, is that they take advantage of their opportunities. Samantha Shaw with 4 goals, all 4 goals for the Mocs this season, and like we previewed in this game, off of just 6 shots. So right there, you don't want to limit any opportunities that she has.
Chattanooga has not taken a shot through the first 88 minutes of play. They're going to need 1 for an equalizer here in the final 11. Auburn 21 shots to Chattanooga 0. Auburn was 7 on frame. Here the Tigers had their 12th corner of the afternoon. They scored a goal on 1 from the foot of Anna Haddock. Here is junior Riley Petkoski to the top of the box. This one skied into the Auburn bench out of play. Well, the main thing here, too, for Auburn in the final 10.5 minutes is, hey, just keep it in your attacking third. You keep it in your attacking third, you won't concede a goal. For Chattanooga, they've got to flip that switch. At some point, they've got to work up some muster to create a counter. But it won't be now, because Auburn's Olivia Candelino seals off the defender for a corner kick. And on this corner, we'll see a new striker in Grace Slopan. Virginia Tech transfer, has 2 years of eligibility left. High lofting corner, punched out by Sadler. Slopan gets it back, chips it in, header just wide as Candelino made contact.
Candelino got great air there. She just barely skims the top of her head, but she was in a great position for that rebound from Slopan.
Boy, Candelino, the sophomore out of Jacksonville, Florida, has been the target several times today. and is missed by inches. Here's a strike to Richards. Richards couldn't hit it cleanly. Out wide, soft pass. Petkoski takes it away, tripped up, and stays on her feet. Petkoski serves it up. Back post, here's Whitaker. A short chip to Candelino. Goal for the Tigers! Candelino goes back post, catches Sadler off her mark. Candelino makes her pay. She's had several opportunities today. She cashes in with under 10 minutes to play. 2-0 Tigers. Candelino with her first goal of the 2021 campaign.
We'll take a look back here. It starts with Haley Whitaker keeping the ball in bounds. Candelino's there, beats Abby Sadler to get in between her and the ball. Beautiful turn, top corner finish of the back post.
Candelino has been knocking on the door all match long.
She has, and she's been trying to curve that ball to that far left post there, and it finally went in. She did a great job. Sadler was out of goal as she beat the ball to her, or beat her to the ball, and she connects there. And I want to point out too, that goes back to Petkoski bringing the ball forward. She drew a foul and got the advantage, and just a beautiful cross in.
8.5 minutes to play. And Auburn put the icing on the cake near about with that late goal from Candelino. Candelino, another chance, top post and in! A brace for Candelino!
No way, almost the exact same shot. This one just a little more top post, but again, a beautiful play by Candelino. She curves that ball into the left post.
Have yourself a day, Olivia Candelino. 2 goals in the last 45 seconds.
This time she cuts the ball across to her left foot. So that's a left-footed shot there and just places it perfectly.
3-0 Tigers with 8 minutes to play.
I was gonna say before that goal that a 2-0 lead is the most dangerous lead to have in soccer. So Auburn couldn't sit back or be complacent on their lead. Now with 3-0, they have a bigger buffer. Chattanooga only less than 8 minutes to try to get one in goal themselves.
All right, this shows my ignorance when it comes to soccer, and I know Coach McKinney and Coach Hoppe will enjoy me asking this question, but why is a 2-0 lead the most dangerous lead in a soccer match?
You feel like you have a big enough buffer between you and the other team that you don't have to defend as heavily or take advantage of certain offensive attacks, but 2 goals can be scored within a couple minutes. Like we saw in the UAB Auburn game on Thursday night. Richards responded with a goal 16 seconds after UAB. So 2 goals are easy to get with just minutes left in a game.
Been a tough afternoon, no question, for Coach Gavin McKinney. And Coach Karen Hoppe getting some subs in with 6:45 to play. And now with Olivia Candelino, not only with a goal today, but with a brace, Auburn has 7 players that have scored a goal this season. And for Chattanooga, again, they're still holding strong with Sam Shaw, who has netted all 4 goals for the Mocs. But for Auburn, the more players that get involved in the attack, I think the stronger that it makes this team and builds confidence. Especially, I mean, because you're coming up on the meat of the schedule. You're finishing up non-conference play. Haley Whitaker loses it out of bounds here. I mean, you have the #1 team in the country in the Florida State Seminoles coming to the Plains next week. That's going to be a nationally televised broadcast, by the way, on ESPNU. And then you start Southeastern Conference play. You get the Georgia Bulldogs. Then you go to Rocky Top to face Tennessee. I mean, Auburn is going to need this confidence for the schedule that they have ahead. But again, is great for them right now, and how they built off of last season and they started this current campaign is about as well as they possibly could in terms of record.
Yes, you really don't want to rely on just one player to be your playmaker, because soccer, unfortunately, you never know with injuries, with players being out, with the crazy COVID year that we're still in, what could happen, and you don't want to just be reliant on one player to win it for you.
Craven bombs one forward to Sydney Richards, and well, and I think this is where Coach Hoppa and her staff, they can build around what they have in the midfield and up top. Again, we touched on it a bit before, but you know, Coach Karen Hoppa has had some phenomenal back lines and defenses in her time at Auburn, especially in the last decade. Well, this year, again, a solid starting core, but not as much depth behind them. So for Auburn, you know, that was a point of concern coming into the season. Well, good news for them right now. If they can continue to score goals and maintain the pace in the attack, well, that is something that maybe they won't have to worry about as much as the season progresses.
Yes, and they switched up their formation. They were playing a 3-5-2, and now they're playing a 4-3-3. So they've designed their team to take advantage of their offensive depth. We'll look back here. Candolino drew a foul, just number 6 for Chattanooga. I believe it is Grace Klippenstein, just going in a little too hard there.
All into the box, punched out and cleared out. The Candolino Sadler got a piece of it, beating Candolino to the punch, and then Catlett cleared it out of play, and Auburn gets another corner with 3.5 minutes left in regulation. Will be a late substitution. Sydney Richards comes off. And for Auburn, that'll be Leighton Glisson. Short to Whitaker on the cross. Sanders, top of the box. Lost her footing, and Sadler with a quick trigger on the throw. And Petkoski with a foul in the midfield. Kelly Turf catches the brunt end of it.
We'll take another look at that play here. Petkoski just coming in a little too hard, knocking Turf to the ground.
Shaw. Craven with a header. The Dells around 2 defenders. And Auburn just wants to play keep away for the last 2.5 minutes. And for Auburn, they'll have a chance to go into next week with some momentum. Alabama A&M on Thursday. Top of the box, a shot high above the crossbar and out of play. Great chance there as Leighton Glisson, the freshman out of Georgia, taking a chance on goal.
She works the ball going through the center mid here. It's deflected, but she keeps with it for a ball that just sails over the top of the net.
Chip forward. Candolino has 2. Wonder in this final minute and 40 if she's thinking about a hat trick. Sanders lost it again at the top, and under 90 seconds for the Auburn Tigers continue the nation's longest active winning streak. I have one more fun fact about that winning streak, and we'll give it to you in just a moment. Tigers 3-0. Got an early goal by Anna Haddock off a corner kick. Just under the first minute of the second half of play, and then late in the final 15 minutes of the match, Olivia Candelino nets not one but two for a brace this afternoon. "20 seconds left." It has been a dominating performance by the Auburn Tigers this afternoon. Top of the box is Anderson. And a whistle blown. And that should do it for the Auburn Tigers, and Maddie Prohaska in net. She's going to run this one out. The Tigers have extended a 9-game winning streak to a 10-game winning streak. Not only is it the longest active winning streak in the country, it's the longest winning streak in program history. The final at the Auburn Soccer Complex. Auburn 3, Chattanooga 0, as the Auburn Tigers knock off the Chattanooga Mocs to stay perfect on the season.